Hey everybody, I'm IronFury, and we're back to talk more about Pokemon, even though the picture says X and Y. We're actually going to talk about Gen 3 first.
Well, we're leading
And,
up to X and Y. That's what we're doing
yeah.
right now.
We're just
I
more
mean,
or less shooting the shit.
yeah, we're, like I said, like he said, we're shooting the shit, and, you know, we have a tendency to ramble on, because it is just kind of a live talk, we're just talking, and we're chatting. But anyway, I guess we'll go on to Gen 3 now, which, it was a generation that I avoided for a long time, because I went through that phase where it's like, oh, Pokemon, that's for babies. That's for dumb babies. But anyway, I did eventually play a Pokemon Gen 3 game, and it actually was in about 2010 that I first played one. And I got Emerald. And I'm not going to lie, Gen 3 is probably my third favorite of the series. I love Gen 1, but it's so archaic that I can't put it in the top three. I just cannot bring myself to do it. But Gen 3, as far as region goes, is probably my third favorite. If I had to make one complaint about Gen 3, and I'm not talking Fire Red and Leaf Green. I'm talking specifically Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. If we're talking the Hoenn region, my only complaint, and a lot of people will agree with me on this, is that the final quarter of the game, you are surfing way too goddamn much.
Yeah,
That's
there is a lot
fair.
of water.
That's fair. But that's because they just brought the dive mechanic in. I think they really wanted to show it off, despite the fact they'd get rid of it for a while.
Hey, at
Well,
least they didn't
location
give us.
was
At least they didn't give us
location.
Pokemon Water World Edition.
I mean, it makes sense. Well, unless you go to Pacific Town, then it is Waterworld.
Okay,
But
okay, that is fair.
but I mean, it makes sense because the Hoenn region is supposed to be like tropical islands.
Right.
But at the same time, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, this is getting kind of tedious. But as far as Gen 3 goes, I guess we'll talk about our favorite starters. We didn't talk about this with Gen 2, but
We
we
did.
already
We all
mentioned
we
kind
all
of.
said
Oh,
Cyndaquil.
oh yeah, that's right. We all did say Cyndaquil. But with Gen 3, I guess we'll talk about our favorite starters, and I know Matt has a lot to say about this one.
Motherfucking
Um,
torching, bitch!
yeah, I'm a Mudkip guy.
So I heard you like them. That's right.
Yes, I do.
I went there. I
Really
went
started.
there.
I do. What's funny is I like Mudkips, but I hate that fucking meme with a passion. But, because
Can
it's just
someone
a dumb.
okay? Can someone please explain to the idiot here what exactly does that mean?
I
I mean,
Um,
don't
I've heard
really
that
know.
everywhere, but I just
I've
don't
heard
get it.
rumors. I've heard rumors.
It comes from
Um,
that dark corner of the internet, though. I know that
4chan.
yeah,
much.
I heard it had something to do with some guy who had like a fetish for Mudkip. I'm not even joking.
Yep. And
Okay, that
it's
makes
really
sense.
it's really making fun of him.
And it's supposed to be making fun of him, but Mudkip was an awesome Pokemon, and I'm gonna kind of go on a quick tangent here, real quick. But Water and Ground is one of my favorite combinations ever in all of Pokemon
Whooper, bitch.
because because it only has one weakness. Now, admittedly, it's a glaring weakness to Grass, but other than that, it also, because it's Water and Ground, it gives it a huge variety of Pokemon that it can take out real easily.
Oh yeah.
So, Water Ground is easily one of my favorite combinations of Pokemon ever. Um, and Mudkip was my guy. Uh, as far as favorite locations, I guess we can kind of all just do this in one go. Um, my favorite locations in Hoenn, there's a few of them actually. I like what the Fortree City. That was just a unique town. All the houses were tree houses. If I have to say one thing about Gen 3 that I really liked is that they had a lot of unique towns.
That
They
they
had a
did.
lot of they had a lot of unique towns. They had a town that was on the side of a volcano. They had a town that was full of tree houses. They had a town that was on water with the roads with logs. They had a lot of really cool ideas. And I also really like the fact that Gen 3 was the only generation where you have a dad
And you have
And
to
you
beat his
fought your
ass.
dad.
You have to
and you
beat your
have to
dad's
beat him.
ass.
You have to beat him. You actually have to, your dad actually has an important role and he actually exists. But I
On
like
like a
that
certain
aspect.
other.
It because you know what? It makes your. I mean, say what you will, but to me, it makes your hero, your main character, look more human. Should I say? Or like, maybe not human, but
I would agree with that.
more down to earth. More down to earth. Like,
It's def-
believable.
it's definitely one of the
Believable.
more character-driven moments in the series.
I mean, every other trainer, every single other hero trainer, it's only a mom. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of single mothers out there, and they all do a wonderful job and all that. But where the fuck do all the dads go? Did they die? Do they just leave and like, fuck you, bitch, I ain't paying child support?
I want to say it's implied that they're off being Pokemon Masters. That's how I've always kind of viewed it as, and they're following in your dad's footsteps.
See, what I would have liked is like maybe instead of, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the fact that like I, I don't know, maybe they should have at least had the dad show up in some form. Maybe have him be the champion in Gen 1 instead of Gary.
That
You
would have
know,
been neat.
have him be the champion, or in Gen 2 have Red be the champion, but have your dad be in Mount Silver.
Ooh.
Ooh, that'd be really awesome.
You know,
Time to make a fan hack! No, I'm just kidding.
or in Gen
Someone should make
4,
that fan hack.
or in Gen 4, have your dad show up as a something or other, like maybe as a professor.
Have your dad show up as a leader of Team Galactic.
That would have been something.
Didn't they
That would
do
have been
that with
something.
Giovanni and what was it, your rival in Gen
Yeah,
2?
Silver is Giovanni's kid, but that's not really officially revealed until I think it was in the Heart Gold and Soul Silver remakes. There's a special
No,
event.
it was
No?
they well, I don't know if they officially revealed it then, but they did nod to it in Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Ah. Well, there
There's a
was a
computer
full
file
event.
in the Rocket Warehouse. There's a file in the Rocket Warehouse that states that Giovanni had a son with red hair.
Oh, well, I remember there's an event you can get. Most of the times now you have to trigger it through hacks. The Celebi event, it just takes you back in time to where basically Giovanni disowns his child, and that's kind of how he becomes like an asshole.
Oh,
That's when you get, and then afterwards you fight Celebi. I
but
think it was just a quick way for them to throw it in there, honestly.
but like I but like I said, um, they really need to do more with the dads instead of just making them non-existent. Because let's be honest, these kids had a dad.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
They
they
had a
had to
dad.
have one at some point.
They're not Jesus. Well, Japan might think so, but I mean,
Oh, Asha-sama!
yes.
What was that?
A
Pikachu
stereotypical.
died for your sins.
Charizard was released to save you from the rapture.
Yes, but this is one of those
Darkrai
things
will
that kind
steal
of
your soul.
that's just one of those things that did kind of bother me. But anyway, that whole tangent aside, going back to Gen 3, um, there's a lot of places I liked. I like the fact that you actually had um, more interactions with the gym leaders after you actually beat them. They actually had relevance. Like Watson, for example, you can talk to him and he sends you on a side quest. New Mauville.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he gives you the Thunderbolt TM. So it's like, that's totally worth it.
Oh,
You know?
Thunderbolt. Such
I
a
guess
reliable move.
I actually we did have one question in the chat. What do you think about Aggron?
Eh.
Um,
Nah.
I like Aggron, but it has glaring weaknesses. One Pokemon in Gen 3 that I will defend forever, and I think is heavily underrated, is Hariyama.
Oh, I loved Hariyama.
Hariyama is always an absolute signature member of my Gen 3 team. If I make a Gen 3 team, he will always be in it.
Oh, Hariyama was so helpful every time when I went through Gen 3. It was
He
so
was a
useful.
powerhouse and an HP tank.
Oh my god, yes.
He
Like
was a little slow. He was a little slow. Put the Quick Claw on him. He ain't gonna be that much slow.
That's true, but I mean, it's like he was so like I would not have gone through some of those gym leaders if it weren't for Hariyama's help.
And I'll just tell you this right now: Gen 3 is one of the few generations where having a psychic Pokemon is not a good idea.
For like,
Have
yeah,
you
for
noticed that?
once. It's true.
Have
Yeah,
you noticed that? Gen
I
3 is the
completely
only
avoided them.
Gen 3 is the only generation where you honestly question whether or not you want to catch a psychic Pokemon. Because, first off, the main bad guys mostly use dark types.
Yep.
that's
I
true.
mean, even though they are fire and water themed, they're carrying Poochyenas and Mightyenas, and the Team Aqua guys, they have um,
Oh god,
Sharpedo and what the fuck is its
Carnivus.
name? Yeah, that one. I
Is
you
it
know I
is it
never
Carvana or Carnivora?
Carvana.
Carvana. There we go. Sorry, I can't pronounce.
They
Couldn't
they
pronounce it
have
right.
Carvana, which is part dark type. Not to mention, you have a gym that's a psychic gym. You have all the like I said, all these dark type Pokemon that are in your way. There's an Elite Four guy who's a dark type guy for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
Spoilers, but
It's not spoilers. They've had their grace period at this point. It's Gen
I
3.
think I think
but
we are allowed free range on spoilers up to this point. I mean, we pretty
but
much have spoiled a lot of other stuff about the other gens.
Like red.
but because psychic types are not as useful, fighting types are one of the most useful in the game.
Motherfucking Blaziken, bitch!
And if you didn't want to use a Blaziken, you got Hariyama, who's awesome. You got Metacham, who is a fighting psychic, so you could just take care of that. Just combine them both. You know? You got the 2-in-1 deal.
Mm-hmm.
You got, what the hell are the other... you got Breloom, who is a fighting grass type. Who the fuck thought that combination through?
Oh, Breloom was awesome.
So whoever did that, good idea on their part.
I
So
really
you
like.
ended
I
up
always
getting
liked
some...
Breloom.
Question in the chat, ever tried making use of Shedinja?
Nope.
Yes, yes, I did. I
I
actually did.
actually, I actually have a friend who tried to use the Shedinja, but he said that every time he tried to use one, he noticed that everyone had something that was super effective against it. So he ended up losing anyway because of it. But so th- some other Pokemon I use in Gen 3, Manectric, another signature member of my team. Probably one of
Manectric, can you remind me which one that was? I can't remember.
the Electrike's evolution.
Oh yes, I remember that
Loxodon's
one.
signature Pokemon.
Yes.
Um, Manectric is a signature member of my team. So basically, you have three really like main members of my team in Swampert, Hariyama, Manectric. Um, Sometimes I'll also like I tried using what the fuck is Shuppet's evolution's name?
Um, Give me a second. I'll look that up. I can't remember what it
Uh,
was.
what
Where
the
are
hell?
you, Shuppet?
Bayonet or something like that, or
Yeah, Bayonet.
Bayonet.
Bayonet. Yes.
Which, by the way, in Gen 3, it's the single most useful ghost Pokemon in the game.
Did you guys ever try to use Sableye?
Yes, I did, and it was a terrible decision. Sableye is a unique Pokemon, and it was the first Pokemon in Gen 3 to, which, by the way, let's be honest, if they're going to make any Pokemon a Mega Pokemon, Sableye is one of them that really needs it.
He's one of the few
Because,
Pokemon that has no weakness, isn't he?
well, yes, for now. For now.
Right.
Because we don't know all the details of the fairy types.
That's true.
But, Sableye and Spiritomb are the only Pokemon right now that technically have no weakness.
Didn't
Um,
wasn't Spiritomb like banned from tournaments or something because it was so uber powerful and broken?
Something like that. But
I think it was at least
Sableye,
restricted. I remember hearing something about that.
Sableye was at least balanced in the sense that even though it had no weakness, it had such shitty stats that you really couldn't make much use of it. Whereas Bayonet was actually the most useful ghost type until they switched the mechanics in Gen 4. Then it became one of the most worthless. Because ghost moves were all physical, no matter what they were. They were all physical moves. And
It's kind of,
quite
which is a little
frankly,
weird when you think about it.
yeah, it is.
I mean,
But anyway, it was the only Ghost Pokemon that could make good use of Shadow Ball. Because Gengar, who was supposed to be like the best Ghost type, was a special machine, not a physical one. In fact, it had garbage physical stats. So Bennett was the only Pokemon in Gen 3 of the Ghost type that was a physical specialty Pokemon instead of special, so it could make use of all the Ghost type moves.
hmm. I'm gonna have to try to. I'm gonna have to
Uh,
try Bayonetta again and just give that one a chance because I never did.
Try it in Gen 3. Try it.
Okay.
Not in Gen 4, because then I mean, Gen 4 you did eventually get some more Ghost moves like Shadow Claw and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like it won't be able to make good use of Shadow Ball. Uh, won't be able to make good use of those kind of moves. Of any special moves, won't be able to make good use of them at all. Um, what other Pokemon did I really use?
I remember one Pokemon I always sought out no matter what. There were two Pokemon at like near the end of the Hoenn Pokedex I always remember fondly is Salamence and Metagross.
Um, I never really used them much because, quite frankly, you can't get them until post game anyway. Um,
Yeah, that's true, but I don't know what it was. Like as soon as I saw Metagross once and Salamence, I was like, I don't care what I have to do to hunt these son of a guns down. I want to find them and I want to use them. And Metagross is probably my. I know. Psychic types weren't that great in Gen 3, like given all the Dark types and stuff. But I just really loved his design. I thought it was so cool.
yeah. I can actually. I unfortunately I can't put my Emerald cart in my DS and just list off the Pokemon I have because the um, the copy of Emerald I have apparently is a bootleg and it deletes the save file if I use it in a DS.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I could
So
pull mine up, but I know for a fact that the last time I played Emerald was when I moved my Gen 3 Pokemon to Gen 4, so there's gonna be
yeah.
nothing
However,
really on there.
I can do it with Gen 4 though because I do have Platinum. But as far as actual like Gen 3 teams go, like I said, my three that are absolutely going to be in Marshtomp, or not Marshtomp, well, technically, yes. Swampert, Manectric, and Hariyama. I try to get a Gardevoir, even though I know it's really not the most useful thing ever. Um, you know what Pokemon I've never really tried but want to? Flygon.
Oh, Flygon was awesome. I loved him.
Now Flygon I didn't really use until Black and White 2. I did
Yeah.
like Flygon beforehand, but he never made my main team until Black and White 2.
Did you guys
Yeah.
ever try for Tropius, the one that looks like a dinosaur but has leaves for wings?
I don't really care for the grass flying combo
Okay.
because it 4 times weak to ice, especially when you have an ice trainer in the Elite Four. Not a good idea. And
Yeah,
honestly,
that's true.
there's also just some things about it. I just don't like that combination. If I'm gonna have a grass type, if I'm gonna combine it with anything, grass and poison. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. Grass and poison is usually what I go with when I combine anything with grass.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Um. Oh, you know what? One thing I forgot to mention. Gen 3 was the first generation to introduce abilities,
Which
which
would change
completely
Pokemon forever.
indeed. In fact, it would make some Pokemon go from this Pokemon's okay to this Pokemon is fucking amazing and why haven't I been using it before? Like, for example, Weezing. Gen 3 made Weezing fucking godly. First off, Weezing is a poison Pokemon with a fuck ton of physical defense. Easily one of the best physical walls in the entire game. Now, of course, being a poison type, it has the weakness of ground and psychic. However, because of the introduction of abilities, including Levitate, Weezing is no longer weak to ground moves. In fact, he doesn't get hit by them at all.
Now the only one he really is weak against is Psychic.
And it's the only thing he's weak against. So all things with physical attributes, beware. Weezing will toxic and wall you.
Like there's no
And
tomorrow.
and if you happen to get him in a lower HP point, he'll just self-destruct and kill you anyway.
Fucking
I always
asshole.
hated that.
Asshole wheezing.
I
So
hate.
Weezing became a lot better because of it. Um, some other Static is easily one of my favorite abilities ever.
Fuck yes.
Oh yeah.
Um, when I did my Pokemon Fire Red LP, Static was a lifesaver on many occasions.
I always loved it when I ever had my, and I, this is kind of going back a little bit, but whenever I had Ampharos, I would always one hit. I always loved it when he had Static because it made him such a beast.
Indeed. I don't know what else I have to say about Gen 3 for myself. So, I suppose to be different, we'll go to Perry this time.
I remember Gen 3 a lot, considering that was the one where with Emerald, that was the one that kind of got me back into Pokemon, since that was the one I was kind of going on my dead cat bounce sort of thing, or one last hurrah. And I really, really liked Emerald, mostly because it was kind of the first Pokemon game. Like I dived into much, much further into the myth, like the inner mythos of the game, more so than the previous ones. Because I knew, like, you guys all heard of the myths with Gen One and all that stuff with the legends and all that, like the glitches, all the creepy pasta stuff, right?
Lavender
Mm-hmm.
Town, especially. Probably the most
Oh God,
famous.
Lavender Town. That scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Another
But
place I should have mentioned in favorite Gen 1 locations.
yeah, but going to Gen 3, I remember looking really far into the all the lore and stuff. Like I remember looking into the Golem like Reggies into the game, and I was just thinking so much. I was like, I want to find these guys, and it took forever to find them
It's too
all.
bad they suck.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the Reggies are probably some of my least favorite of the legendaries.
They
Which
look
is
cool
funny
though.
because Gen 3 has some of my favorite legendaries, but it also has some of
Groudon.
my least favorite. Groudon is easily my favorite, is one of my favorite legendaries ever.
I love
Because
Groundon.
that thing just reminds me of Godzilla.
Yeah, that you can't really go wrong with that.
It's basically Red Godzilla, and he will fuck you up.
Well,
But
Godzilla already f's you up to
it,
begin
it,
with.
I mean, it's a ground Pokemon that may as well be a fire ground Pokemon.
I'm surprised he's not.
I know, but anyway, um, but yeah, the Reggies are not my favorite legendaries at all.
No, but at least they're kind of at least they have at least a cool idea behind them, and they at least have an interesting design. They're not that strong, I will admit, when you really get down to it, but they still are interesting.
Yeah, and honestly, in Gen 4, I don't understand why they bothered to make a fourth Reggie, who was like the king of the Reggies, and oh, lo and behold, he's a normal type, so he's not even that good.
Yeah, not to doesn't he doesn't Reggie Gigas that's the name of the king of the golems, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reggie Gigas doesn't he kind of look like one of the bosses from Shadow of the Colossus?
Yes, he does. He does, dude.
I was about to say, like, as soon as I saw him for the first time, and that was like way back, and I was thinking, why do I feel like I've seen this creature before? Oh yeah, he looks like he's ripped right out of Colossus.
And they made him awful, though. Like, they made him way more awful than he should be because he has that ability where he's fucking he's like really
Oh,
slow for
slow
five
start.
turns.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
that.
like, what a stupid fucking ability because first off, he's already not going to be very good, but then he becomes fucking useless. Because things are
Pretty
going to
much.
wreck him before you get a chance to really do anything.
Cool
All
design,
it
but
takes,
well,
all it takes is a fighting Pokemon, and it'll fuck it right up.
Right?
yeah, cool design, but
Oh,
arguably one of the worst legendaries in the games.
Regigigas? Oh, you think I'm scared? Hariyama, fuck that bitch up.
I'm about to go Hariyama on your ass.
I'll go old school and go Primate on your ass.
Oh yeah, PokeMMO has introduced Matt to the wonderful world of Primeapes.
That motherfucker's a beast.
I always liked Primate. He was fun. But let's see. more stuff about Gen 3. I don't have a much else to say about Gen 3. I do like the fact that it had two organizations to fight against, and it did have a little bit more of them. I just like the mythos overall in the Hoenn region. Overall, it's
It,
just a lot of it
the
was
Gen 3 was the also it was also the first generation where the villains actually had a goal that wasn't take over the world and make a fuck ton of money.
and you got to admit it was like yeah, that's true. They did have a motive, and I kind of liked what was it? It was Team Magma and Team Aqua, right?
Yep.
Team
Yeah, and
Magma.
Maxie and Archie.
I like the fact that they also, I mean, they were bad guys, yes, but they honestly thought that what they were doing was good, and at the end, you actually see that they realize the error in their ways, as opposed to Giovanni, who's just kind of like, "Oh, I'm out of here, peace, bitch."
Fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah,
I do
and
think I
and
think the Team Aqua, Team Magma story is probably my favorite villain team story. Honestly, if I can,
um,
out of all the gens.
out of all of them, they were until Gen 5.
I mean, I
I
like Team Plasma a lot, but I
I
think
like Team Plasma, and I like them more in Gen 2, or not Gen 2, in Black 2. In Black 1, they were basically like a spoof of PETA, but in Black 2, they definitely got a lot more interesting. Um, but anyway, going back to Gen 3. I really like Team Aqua and Team Magma. It was also the first generation, like you said, Perry, that had two teams that really, was a new thing. And unfortunately, it was one of those things where they decided to go backwards on that and go back to the single team, who kind of was single-minded and doesn't really learn the error of their ways.
Yeah, that's true. It was
Um,
that was probably the more interesting one of the more interesting bits of Gen 3. And I also liked oh god. Like I don't know about you, but you guys were commenting like we were commenting earlier about how there was so much freaking water in the Hoenn region, right?
yeah,
I kind of wish that Magma sort of accomplished his goal, so at least there's less water.
yeah. Well, there was that whole area in Emerald where it was kind of like randomly getting sunny day and randomly raining.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
Unfortunately, it didn't actually change the landscape at all, but it was at least showing the effects on the world.
That's true. And they've kind of
Although
incorporated stuff like that.
they probably did that though because they didn't want it to get too morbid. Like, oh, you have an area that's so dried up and you're getting more land, but at the same time, Pacificlog Town is completely underwater and everyone's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
that's
tried
probably
to
a little
avoid
that was
that
probably a
kind of
little
thing.
too dark,
Yeah.
even though they did have Lavender Town.
So, I guess I could just ask you, who's your favorite starter in Gen 3?
Gen 3. Ooh, that's kind of tough because I kind of like all the starters in Gen 3. Honestly, I liked Trico, I liked Torchic, I liked Mudkip. Uh, I think in terms of my overall design, in terms like I always like when I judge a starter, I don't judge it just based off of just the design of the first one, like the first stage. I always have to look at it at the end road, at the end of the road, and I always liked. I think I had a lenience towards Blaziken. I really liked Blaziken's look, but I also kind of like Swampert a lot. So it's kind of a tie, really. But if I had to, if I was forced to pick one, if I was really forced to pick one, I had to go with Blaziken.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
um, I will say one thing about Trico. It's a hell of a lot better than Chikorita ever was.
Yeah. No
Meganium,
Chikorita,
competition.
I actually kind of like Chikorita a little bit. I think it's kind of,
Chikorita, eh, in my opinion, it's steaming hot garbage.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, to each his own.
It's probably one of my least favorite starters ever. Just no use for it, and I'm sure Corn Shack could attest. It's god awful. But that's a reference to his frickin' Nuzlocke Gold run, where he kept dying multiple times and his Chikorita was worthless.
I will say, oh wait, going off grass types, I think one of my favorite combinations ever, or favorite Pokemon ever in parties, was Shiftry with the grass and dark.
Yeah, you know what else I thought was a really interesting type? Lily. Rock and grass. That was an interesting combination.
Yeah, that is that's true. It was an interesting combo.
You don't really see a lot of things like that. There's actually a Pokemon in Gen 6 that's supposed to be like a mountain goat, but it's only a grass type, I think. And I was saying this to somebody, that should be a rock grass type, or a ground grass type, which, funny enough, Gen 4 would introduce that combination. Um,
Which one was that?
uh, Tortuga, I think his name was. It was the grass starter,
Oh, right, right. That
or
was
Tortuga, or something like that.
or Togterra or
Gen
something.
uh, Gen 4. I mean, not to kind of skip ahead or anything. Gen
Well, we
4
might
had a
as well
lot of
just go ahead and
really
skip the Gen 4.
well. I mean, we were going to still talk. We still haven't gotten to Matt to talk about his favorite starters, even
Oh,
though we already
sorry.
know what it is. But just to make a quick tangent, real quick, Gen 4 had some unique starters as far as typing goes, and that's one of the few things that Gen 4, in my opinion, got right. But going back to Gen 3, what are your favorite locations?
Um, like just any one of us in general, or just me?
No, you.
Oh, sorry. Favorite locations. Oh boy, this is a little tough because there's a bunch of them that I consider very memorable. So just choosing one would probably be difficult. I liked the what was it? I liked Lava Ridge Town, the one where there's like a hot spring in it.
Yeah,
I thought,
that's where you fight. What's your face there? Fourth Gen.
yeah, I remember. Yeah, Lava Ridge Town. Um, let's see.
Flannery, that was her name.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, wait, we're talking Gen 3 locations or Gen 4 locations? I lost track.
Gen 3.
Oh, Gen 3. Whoops. My bad.
Yeah, Lava Ridge was Gen 3.
Oh, duh. Sorry. My whole memory of Pokemon has become like one giant hodgepodge.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
remember a
it
lot about
happens.
Gen 3 myself. I can't even lie to you guys right now.
Um,
Um, let's see. What was another one? I kind of like, how do you spell it? Sotopolis City?
oh, Sutopolis.
Sotopolis City. Yeah, that's it.
Definitely the most unique way to enter a town.
Is that the
Yeah,
one you
until you can
dive
actually
to?
fly.
Yes.
I swear that was such a pain to find the first time I ever went to get it. I was like, "Where is this place?" And then
T
once
in
I
the
actually,
chat.
huh?
T in the chat writes. I always like that route where you can find Spinda, mainly for the music, but the grass flutes or the glass flutes you can get for the ash were neat. Indeed, it was also the place you can catch a Skarmory.
Oh, Scarry was awesome. I loved the way he looked.
Um,
Actually, that's another
Skarmory,
one they should probably do a Mega Evolution War. Mega Skarmory.
Holy fuck, that'd be awesome.
and it
Mega
would be
Skarmory
broken
would
as
look
fuck.
freaking beast.
If they made an evolution for Skarmory, it would be broken. Skarmory is already powerful enough as it is. I used one in Gen 3, although for flying types, I generally go between him or Swellow, because Swellow is actually really good. It's fast and has high attack.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There is one thing though. I will say I kind of didn't like all that much about Gen 3. There
Which
was
was
it wasn't so much a location or a Pokemon. It was just it was one of the mechanics. It was just the fact that you had to use so much of the HMs at one time that it almost seemed like you had to
oh
carry at
yeah.
least one Pokemon at all times where it had so many HMs you couldn't do anything else with it.
Well, at least
Like
they gave us Zigzagoon, who was one of the best HM slaves ever.
that's true, but I never used Zigzagoon, so I
Well,
never. This was like I said. This was before I really started looking into it. And I didn't even know like all the terminology everybody uses, like agent slaves and
I
stuff like
I
Oh,
that.
will
I
say
still
this
learn
too.
terminology. I just recently learned what stab and stuff is. Like, the more the technical stuff.
I will
Yeah.
say this too. Gen 3 also offers. I mean, despite its debilitating ability of of slacking, it's probably one of the best Pokemon to make use of a move like Strength because of Stab.
Hmm.
So, I mean, at least you have that. Of course, if you have a Swampert, you can obviously use Surf and Waterfall on it, or Dive. You can catch uh, some awesome water types, uh, like Crawdon or whatever the hell it is, the dark
Code.
water type.
Oh, I'm
But
thinking
you
about
would.
the legendary
This
for a
is the
minute.
one thing I've always had a problem with HMs. I mean, you think that was like those certain moves like Strength, Surf, Cut, and all that stuff. But you would think that that's something a Pokemon can learn normally, right?
You
I
would
mean,
think,
for a
yeah, but they're
water
kind of
Pokemon to not know Surf, I mean,
well,
doesn't that sound kind of silly?
yeah, but I could think of far sillier.
Like what? What
Like
could?
for example, for example, at level 30, Gyarados learns Leer.
Okay,
Right.
that is dumb.
Okay, and how about this one? The fact that a Pokemon has to learn Leer at all. Do you know what leering is?
Mm,
Staring at it, right? Like mean. Just looking
Leering
at
is
it.
literally giving it a mean look,
Which is actually
oh,
another
okay.
move. Mean look. Scary
which is
face,
another
whatever.
move.
I
Or
actually,
glare.
I
Or
actually will say I like Mean Look. I do like that move because it helped me
oh, I
so much
like
when trying to catch legendaries.
I like the move. I'm just saying these are things that you know what I mean. That a Pokemon should naturally know how to make a mean face.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? It isn't something that a Pokemon should necessarily learn.
Especially some of the
At
ones that
least
already look mean.
at least Surf. I mean, despite the fact that you are riding on a Pokemon, the animation for Surf has always been a giant tidal wave. So at least on that front, and the fact that Surf is also really fucking useful. You know,
Yeah,
at
I mean
least on that
it
front,
is.
the fact that it's an actual thing that you can teach your Pokemon, I really don't have a problem with that.
I know it's just something that I've always found as a little bit of an oddity with just the fact that it's a water Pokemon that doesn't know how to surf. It's sort of like Scyther and not having the ability to fly
I
with
can.
its
I
wings.
think I can kind of see the surf thing. I'm kind of thinking about it now that you've said something. I think it could be like Pokemon. Yes, they know how to swim and stuff, but you have to train them to let you swim on them to let us stay on the surface and not go underneath.
That okay, that would make more sense.
And not to mention, from an attack standpoint, you're teaching your Pokemon how to create a giant wave that'll kill something.
Right.
That is true. Okay, that makes more sense on an attack level. I'm just saying on like a functional level, it just seems a little bit odd.
It still makes more sense than Leer.
No, no, I'm in complete agreement with there. It's just something I just noticed it when I like for a long time, and I just could never make sense of it. But you guys want to have we all kind of discussed our locations or whatnot?
I haven't.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Matt really hasn't. I guess Matt will just kind of. I know you said you don't really remember much about Gen 3, so this shouldn't take too long. And then I guess after that, we'll just cut and then go to
Yeah, I was gonna say
Gen
we've been on
4.
Gen 3 for a while, which is
That's because
fine
Gen
because it's a
3.
good gen. It's where things really
Well, no,
started to change.
yeah, Gen 3 really added a lot of stuff, so you kind of. It was one of the most important generations for that reason alone.
Yep. Gen 3 for me, it's where I started to get more into the technical stuff of Pokemon. Like, I really started thinking about my teams more because I was getting older. And I never, as I said before, I never went through that phase where I got out of Pokemon. I was always into it, but I didn't go around screaming that I was playing it. And my close friends knew, and that was probably about it, because why would anyone else give a fuck?
It was sort of an in the closet type deal.
Right, like it was in the closet, but like if you asked me about it, I would just be open about it. You know, it's
Right.
kind of like that kind of deal.
Not
But
to interrupt anything
you
real quick, but we
motherfucker,
have some more stuff in the chat. Do you remember the first time you were hit by thunder, surf, earthquake move while you were using fly, dive, or dig?
I was a kid and I was confused and angry.
I was
Um,
so mad when that happened.
Also, uh, what about teaching something like Tauros or Rhydon surf? Am I the only one that finds it hilarious that a giant rock can learn surf?
Yes.
A giant rock rhino.
Yes. Or surfing on your Tauros.
I
That is
mean,
just the most badass image ever. You are literally sitting on a bull who is looking like he is ready to kill you. You see, you just imagine you were in like, let's just say you lived in a Pokemon region,
I need to
and
find fan art of this.
and you were just sitting on the beach, and all of a sudden, this guy standing on Tauros's back with his arms crossed, giving a mean look. Like, think of like a big
Wearing sunglasses. He has
and
to wear
just looking like
sunglasses.
Wearing
and just
communist Gurren Lagann sunglasses.
Fuck
no,
yes, yes.
you just see this guy.
With his red cape.
You just see a guy standing on the back of a Tauros with his arms folded and just giving the meanest look, and Tauros looking like he's ready to run a hole through you,
And you know
coming
what?
towards you from the
You know
water.
what they should have? What they should have right in front of it is having a Lapras looking about it to shit itself.
Yes, and
That would be
just like,
so great. Someone really should draw that.
and under it should be a caption that's something like "Your doom is imminent."
Great.
Or
Dude, I've been thinking
or-
about that for like all night now. Thanks.
I am
I'm gonna
sorry,
go
I'm
to
not
sleep
gonna
with that mental image in my head.
or
I'm
something
not
like
gonna-
"We're all doomed."
I'm gonna be dreaming about that. I'm literally gonna be dreaming about that tonight while surfing on a Tauros.
Yes.
Is
We definitely need some fan art. If somebody would send that to one of us, either one of us or all of us, I really don't care. I need to
I
see
will
that.
promote the shit out of that I will promote the shit out of that image.
And then
That
link them
needs
back
to
to
be
this
something
video.
in my life.
That's,
So anyway,
that's probably the best thing
um,
we've thought of all night. Is Toro was a surfing Tauros with communist sunglasses.
Oh,
Surfing
man.
Tauros just. Anyway, so Matt, you were talking about Gen 3. Obviously, your favorite starter is Torchic.
Torchic, I've always been it was the first like fire starter that was firefighting, though they did get really friendly with that for the next 2 generations. But it was the first
Indeed.
one, damn it! So it was really cool,
It-
and I love Blaziken's design. I thought he was a badass motherfucker. He was really good too. And once again, I said this before. I don't know if it was in this series of discussions or not, but
Oh yeah,
Blaziken was the first
Tyranitar.
Pokemon I naturally trained to level 100.
Oh God, don't put more images in our head, T.
Yeah,
Really.
please.
Yes,
Even
someone do that. Someone do
even
that.
Tyranitar and Tauros
Tyranitar of all
slurping
things
towards
can
each
learn
other.
surf.
No,
Oh God.
no, someone no. Here's what it should be. Someone riding on both Tauros and Tyranitar at the same time with one foot on each of them.
Oh God.
And
How
it
would
was
that
like
work?
he's using them as jet skis.
That
How would that
dude.
even work?
That has to be a
Who
giant.
cares how that would work? It would be
No,
awesome.
you know what it would be?
Put a
You know what
Titan
it-
from Attack on Titan riding one of them.
No, no. You know what it would be? The guy would be on water skis, and he would have ropes hanging off of Tyranitar and Tauros.
Yes.
Just standing there, riding toward the shore.
You're about to get
And
your
it would be
shit
all the
fucked
gym-
up.
It would be all the
Somehow-
he'd be waving all the gym leaders.
Somehow, because fuck it, it would be awesome. A wall of fire is following behind them,
Oh fuck. Rhyperior can learn it.
and Aggron. Oh Jesus Christ!
Stop listing
Okay.
off these Pokemon.
Okay, hold on a minute. We have to make and Buffalant. Oh my God. Okay, we now have the ultimate image. Tyranitar, Tauros, Rhyperior, Aggron, and Buffalant are all attached to ropes, bringing a cruise ship across the ocean.
No, they're bringing the SSS and up from the sea.
Yes.
The SSN, like, no, it would be like in that one episode of Pokemon where the SSN sank because of all the Gyarados.
Yeah.
Well, instead, a battleship comes by with all these Pokemon that are like the saviors of the sea, and they fight them all and kill them.
Yes.
Actually, they should probably just for lulz factor. They should probably do it like one of those you know those like water skiing pyramids that a lot of hot chicks do in the skiing competitions.
Oh my God.
They should do that. They should
This
put
needs to be-
those.
This needs to be a Flash animation. This is beyond just a mere picture now. This needs to be a movie.
Oh, someone
full-on move.
seriously.
Guys, we need to
do
get
this
together,
shit. I
get
will
a money
love
pool
you
together,
forever.
and hire an artist. Like a
Oh my God.
Someone call Ego Raptor. Tell him. To do
yeah,
it.
Raptor. I got an idea for Poke Awesome 3.
Oh. Oh, seriously. Let's move on.
Okay.
Let's move on to Gen 4 before we even lose
Yeah,
our.
honestly,
I didn't even get to finish my talk on Gen 3.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But you know what, though? There's no way what you say about Gen 3 could top that image now.
No, it can't. So I'll sum it
So
up really fast. Blaziken's awesome. I don't remember much anything else. Groudon's a badass. Kyogre's pretty okay. Rayquaza is a fucking monster. The end.
okay, cut.